the press plays right into the hands of these people, and they really are an extension, in my opinion. The press is an extension of Hillary Clinton and the Democrats, and that's what's going on, and people see it.
Well, that's Donald Trump taking aim at the media, especially in the wake of his controversy over his Second Amendment comments, as he once again blasts the coverage he's receiving. But out of all the candidates running for president, including those from lesser-known parties, Trump has spent the least on television campaign ads. In fact, the billionaire businessman hasn't run a single one. Is that going to change? Joining us now, Karine Jean-Pierre, a Democratic strategist and former deputy campaign manager for Martin O'Malley. She's also the senior advisor and national spokeswoman for MoveOn.org. And Mark Larson, Southern California radio host. Great to have you both today. Mark, hey, why not go on the offense? If Donald Trump doesn't like what the media is doing when it comes to himself and his campaign, why not go on the attack himself and put out his own television ads?
Seems to me he's doing that already. He's doing it with millions of followers on Twitter and other social media. He's getting what he needs on television. Look at just today. You've got more than 5 times the amount of network coverage on the mainstream networks of the Trump controversy, quote unquote, from the Second Amendment comment, compared to, say, the Mateen story about the Orlando gunman's father being in the Clinton crowd, or the Clinton email story. He's getting plenty of publicity anyway. So they've said for years Republicans spend too much money kind of going at each other in the primaries so that there's not enough money left for the general. Maybe he's the smartest one in the group here right now by keeping his powder dry.
Karine, what do you think? Is he the smartest guy in the group?
Look, I mean, Donald Trump subscribes to, all press is good press. But here's the problem, and that's why he doesn't spend money on media. But here's the problem. The vast majority of the press that he's getting is actually negative, which is why we see his numbers going down in the polls. But look, we are in the general election, right? The general electorate is very different than the Republican primary. You can't continue to espouse hate behind the podium and to see that working in the general electorate. It's just not going to happen.
Do you think it's smart, Mark, for him not to spend even just a little bit of money right now putting out his own message when he's being outspent not only by Hillary Clinton but some of the libertarian candidates that are taking some voters that could be significant in some states?
Well, it's interesting. Again, the narrative is anything he says, there's a problem with it, according to how it gets met with in the media, and certainly by the way that the Democrats get all together very quickly. You got to hand it to them. They're very good. They pounced on the Second Amendment comment very quickly. But he could run a new campaign talking about his family or what have you, something touchy-feely, make the experts feel good about it, and it would still be run like Donald Trump is trying now to do this.
So you're saying no matter what he does, it's just going to be negative, Mark, at
absolutely.
This point.
He can say good morning, and they're going to challenge that. So that's a problem. It's not a good morning.
I'm wondering what Karine thinks about that, because Mark seems to have a point. It is anything that Donald Trump does. I mean, it's even at this point, it's getting down to even his mannerisms are getting hyper examined by the media, and one wonders, Karine, what that's all about.
But here's the thing, Jenna. It's not the media who is doubling down, tripling down on attacks against a Gold Star family. It's not the media that is calling Mexicans rapists. You know, it's not the media who's going after fire marshals.
It is the media piling up.
It's not. He's the one saying those things, right?
Well,
He's the one who's
they're
putting
amplifying
that out.
it
Okay, let me ask you this question then, Mark, as well,
but
because
he's running for president.
There is a lot of money. Money can be spent in a lot of different ways, and we're seeing Hillary Clinton actually spending money on operations in states like Georgia and Arizona. Karl Rove made the point to us last hour that it's not necessarily about winning this time around, but setting up an operation to get an infrastructure in those states and looking ahead for future races. So, Mark, what do you think Donald Trump is doing with the money? If he's not spending it on ads or necessarily operations, do you think he's keeping his powder dry for something in the future that's going to keep us on the edge of our seats? What do you think it's about?
I think he's keeping his powder dry right now for this election, and it is what it is between Trump and Hillary Clinton. This is one thing we can agree on, I think, here, Karine, and that is this is a very unconventional year. So all the conventional predictions aren't seeming to work out this time. Maybe, again, he's the smartest person in the room by the way this is being played.
Karine, just your quick final thoughts on that. He's run an untraditional, non-traditional campaign, and it's worked for him, so at every point of the way. So is this going to be any different?
Well, I think it worked in the Republican primary, but it's not going to work in the general electorate. He has to build his coalition. He does. He can't just go after the 13 million people and more that he won in the Republican primary. He has to go after African Americans, after Latinos, which is why we're seeing him having problems in Arizona, in Georgia, in North Carolina, because he's not building that tent, building that coalition. So it is going to be a problem for him.
It'll be interesting to see.
Well, Hillary's negatives are up there too. They're big time. So.
Both of them sharing that.
Both
That's
of them
something
are.
that we can all agree on because it's actually a fact.
Definitely. Yeah, that is a fact.
That's right, for right now. We'll see what happens as Donald Trump has done in the past. He's exceeded expectations, so we'll see if this is also the case. Mark and Karine, great to have you both. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jenna.
Thank you.